Alright, let's talk about You. No, not you watching this, but the twisted, addictive Netflix series that has kept us all on the edge of our seats. You is coming back for its 5th and final season, and if you've lost track of Joe's wild journey, don't worry, I've got you covered. But before we dive in, what do you think? Will Joe finally meet his match, or will he get away with it all again? Let's break it down. Season 1 introduces us to Joe Goldberg, a seemingly sweet and intelligent guy working at a bookstore in New York. But beneath his quiet and bookish exterior lurked a deeply obsessive and dangerous man. When he meets a girl named Guinevere Beck, she's an aspiring writer, he falls hard and immediately starts to stalk her. Joe monitors her every move. He hacks her phone, he manipulates events in her life to make sure that she falls in love with him. And along the way, Joe eliminates multiple obstacles. First, her casual boyfriend Benji, who he locks in a glass cage in the basement of the bookstore before eventually unaliving him. Then there's the big obstacle, whose name is Peach, Beck's wealthy and obsessive best friend who is suspicious of Joe from the start. Peach's obsession with Beck rivals Joe's, and when she digs a little bit too deep, Joe unalives her as well, making it look like a suicide. And a little bit after that, Beck begins to suspect Joe, and when she discovers his hidden stash of memorabilia from his crimes, including her ex-boyfriend's teeth, Joe locks her in the infamous glass cage. And unfortunately, Beck does meet a tragic fate, and Joe crafts the perfect cover story framing her therapist, Dr. Nikki, for her disappearance, and he moves on with his life. But just as Joe starts to think that he's free, his past comes knocking. His ex, Candace, who he believed was dead, suddenly reappears. The season ends with Joe in a precarious situation. Candace is alive and she's ready to expose him, but as we'd soon learn, Joe always finds a way to survive. He vows to change his ways, but of course he immediately becomes obsessed with someone new, Love Quinn. Unlike Beck, Love is confident, charismatic, and seems to understand Joe in a way that no one else has before. But Joe's journey to LA isn't smooth. He's battling with his own demons from his past, and he discovers that a girl named Delilah, a journalist, starts snooping around. But when Delilah gets a little bit too close to uncovering the truth, Joe locks her in his glass cage, intending to let her go later on. In a shocking twist, she ends up not alive anymore, and Joe has no memory of doing that to her. Turns out it wasn't Joe, it was Love. She reveals that she's just as dark as him, if not worse. She goes after Candace, who's been trying to expose Joe, and confesses her love for him. And just when Joe thinks that he's about to run, Love drops another bomb. She's pregnant with his child. Trapped and terrified, Joe realizes that he has no other choice but to stay. But as we see in season 3, Love's unpredictability makes her even more dangerous than Joe himself. Season 3 of You takes a wild turn. Joe and Love move to the suburbs of California in an attempt to live a normal life with their newborn son, Henry. But normal is not in Joe's DNA. Love and Joe's marriage is built on lies and mutual distrust. Joe, of course, becomes infatuated with their married neighbor, Natalie, but before he can act on it, Love, being the wild card that she is, takes care of Natalie in a jealous rage. As Joe and Love try to cover up what she did, Joe becomes obsessed with a local librarian named Marion. Unlike his past obsessions, Marion is strong-willed, independent, and a mother herself, but Love catches on to this real quick and realizes that Joe is planning to leave her for Marion. And instead of both of them going their separate ways, Love poisons Joe, but he manages to turn the tables, injecting her with a fatal dose of her own paralytic poison. Joe then stages Love's death as a murder-suicide, faking his own demise in the process. He leaves baby Henry with a trusted friend and heads to Paris to track down Marion, believing that she is his ultimate one true love. But with Love gone now, Joe is completely untethered. Now, there's no one left to keep him in line. But which one of Joe's past love interests do you think was the best match for him? Beck, Love, or Marion? Season 4 of You takes a major shift. Now in London, Joe assumes the identity of Professor Jonathan Moore, a respectable academic trying to start fresh. But he gets caught up in the elite social scene and finds himself among a group of wealthy, powerful individuals who all seem to be hiding dark secrets. As Joe tries to live a quiet life, a string of deaths start happening to members of his new circle. But in a shocking twist, the person responsible is actually Joe himself. He's suffering from dissociative episodes and hallucinating a version of Reese Montrose, a popular author and politician, as his dark alter ego. By the end of the season, Joe fully embraces his dark side, eliminating anyone in his way. With the help of his new wealthy girlfriend Kate, he returns to New York, more powerful and dangerous than ever. So in the final season of You, Joe is back in New York, but will he finally pay for all of his crimes? Get ready, because season 5 is about to be the most intense yet. If you enjoyed the video, you can check out my other recaps right here. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.